Welcome to the Leader of You, Leading Beyond Limits. Awaken You Matter. The summit is about one thing, it's you. It's about recognizing that you matter and awakening to the truth that you have the power to lead your life and break through your limitations and create the future you always wanted. Over the course of this event, we'll deep dive into the beliefs, the habits, and the actions that shape your life, both consciously and unconsciously. Many of us are held back by limiting beliefs we don't even know exist. Beliefs are formed in the childhood that we don't know yet, that drive our decisions, our actions, and ultimately our outcomes. The summit is designed to help you awaken to these hidden forces and break free from them and align with your actions, your purpose, and the person you were truly meant to be. I had the wonderful and grateful opportunity to speak with Susan Shatzer. And she is a driving force behind the Limitless Life Institute. Susan is a standout figure in personal and professional transformation, unlike any other. Her approach results from over 2 decades of experience in energy work and personal development. Susan's innovative methods have led to thousands to profound personal and professional transformations, making a true visionary in her field. Susan's mission is unwavering. She is committed to shaping a world where individuals can break free from the chains of past traumas and limitations, opening the door to a life of limitless possibilities. Her energetic gift was warmly received at the Academy Awards this year, and she was eagerly anticipates the launch of her 15th book, Your Limitless Life, which undoubtedly will inspire and transform countless lives. Susan, welcome. I am so happy that you're here today. And after talking behind the scenes, we have a lot in common, more than we probably even realize at this point. So, Susan, introduce yourself a little bit. Tell me about yourself and how you came about doing these in work in people's lives.
Thank you so much, William, so much for inviting me and for having me here. It is my honor, truly, to be in service to you and to your audience, and for everyone else out there that this summit is going to touch, and those people that then touch those people that are connected to those people, and it'll just continue to ripple out. So, I've had the life. And it's been challenging. It really has. It's been interesting. And it has led me to where I am now and being in service to humanity. And I help people discover their soul's goal if they don't know why they're here, what they're doing, what they should be doing. So many people are living other people's lives or living lives for parents or what other people believe they should be. And they're not in alignment with what their soul is here to do. And so I'm able to help them perceive, know, be, and receive that with ease. And in the process, we end up taking out all the things that no longer serve them. So the unconsciousness area. So your angelic team and I go into your subconscious and we pull out the unconsciousness that's in there. And of course, scientists tell us that our subconscious creates our reality. And so what happens is people's reality like instantly, dramatically, radically changes, and it's permanent. So there's huge results that people receive in working with me and their angelic teams. Yeah. And it's so much fun.
Yeah, I agree 100%. There's actually a super conscious level too, and that's connection with the spirit world. And what I know is God, and that's really the connector. But we get so blocked in life, and you hit on something important. So many of us don't realize we have permission to say that we can be what we're truly meant to be, and that's empowering. In fact, when you realize that you can choose that type of life, but we can't do it alone, can we, Susan?
No. And so that's why we have like our family and our friends and our neighbors and our coaches. And, as a soul, we chose to incarnate here for our soul's evolution. So before we got here, we chose to have certain experiences in order for our soul to evolve. And, God's here in the process. And so there are people who signed up to give you experiences, and you've signed up to give other people experiences for their soul's evolution. And they're not always the really nice ones. So you actually haven't done anything wrong. You've been playing your role in someone else's life, and they've been playing their role in your life. And it's this play that takes place. And so when I work with clients, when you have the awareness that this is a play and you're playing your part, you have the opportunity to choose for that play to be over and for you to choose a new play, and you get to pick the cast members, and you get to pick the stage that you're going to work on. And so that is a metaphor for actually what we do energetically together.
Indeed. So a lot of times that realize that where our development is in childhood, that carries forward in our life. And there, some of that will support us, obviously, but there's things that we don't know, blind spots, if you will, that don't serve us anymore. And it's tough to admit, and I had to go through this myself. Sometimes you have a 13-year-old making decisions for your adult life, and you don't realize you're making those decisions based on that memory that was implanted, that defined the event that happened, that conducts your result again over and over again. And sometimes we wonder why we keep getting those same results, and that's one big reason why. Mm-hmm. Exactly, cyclic, and it gets depressing, frustrating. I mean, all the things that come along with it. It's like, how come I cannot break free? And that's a great reason. So, self awareness, wouldn't you think, will become the very first step in recognizing these things are happening?
Yeah. So the first step into for an awareness is for someone to go, you know what, like this isn't working. Like I live in Daytona Beach, Florida, so it's the Indy 500. So once I explain the analogy to clients, I'll just start going like this, like, oh, I'm on the racetrack again. Because when you're on the racetrack, you're looking for the checkered flag because that means you've won the race. So as you're looping around, you're like, okay, well, that didn't work. So let me go on the outside. So that's when you try something new relationship, new job, new location, but you still get the same results. So then you're going to go in lane. Oh, maybe it'll be faster because it's less space. That doesn't work. Same thing happens. You're like, look, I'm going to go into the pit and take a break. So then you're like, okay, time out. I'm going to step out of life for a little bit. I'm not going to date anybody. I'm not going to do extra work. I'm just going to be by myself. And then you get back on the track and you're still searching for the checkered flag. Well, what if it's not about winning the race? What if it's not about finding the checkered flag? Because it's not, but that's what this reality says. You need to get the A on your test. You need to get the hole in one. You need to score the grand slam and get the touchdown and whatever it happens to be with in your work or your school field that is successful. It's actually not that checkered flag. Because how many of us have won that, have succeeded, have gotten the hole in one and the touchdown and the grand slam and not been happy? Because it's not about getting the checkered flag, winning the race, which is what this reality, third dimension, tells us. So I show you the exit ramp.
Mm.
Let's just get you off the track. And when we get you off the track, you have choice. When you're going like this, you have no choice but to go this way continuously. You never see cars going in the opposite direction on the Indy 500. But when you get off the exit ramp and you're at the end of the ramp, you can go left, right, straight, diagonal, just stay there for a while. You have choice. And that's what I have found is so impactful for people because they were in a no choice reality. Their life was no choice versus giving them choice is a huge leveling up and a huge vibrational frequency boost for people.
Proverbial hamster wheel of life.
Yes. Yeah.
Exactly. And you mentioned vibration, but before we go there, there's also the thinking of what emotions are tied up when you're going into that hamster wheel or the Daytona 500 that's going around and around and around so much. And you're getting those results, those become very frustrating, which are negative emotions. And what happens if we don't learn how to discharge those emotions leads into things far worse than what is existing at that moment. Wouldn't you think about
Yeah,
that?
absolutely. Because we were not actually taught how to handle our traumas. Like no one has
Mhm.
figured that out. Like we're not actually taught that. Like what you're taught to do is, oh, time heals everything. Oh,
Mhm.
buck up. Boys don't cry. Men don't cry.
Yeah.
Put your big girl pants on.
Mhm.
Like, you've had long enough. How much longer are you going to be with this? Like, the pity party's over. Like, wipe your tears, blow your nose, and let's go. And that's how we're taught to deal with it. However, the soul holds on to those and they create a timestamp. So when I work with souls, they show me, like, for instance, right now, William, you're showing
Mhm.
me your lifeline this way. And it's not just this lifetime, it's your soul's lifetime. So
Mhm.
when your soul first chose to be or do anything, all of those lifetimes leading up to this present moment, and even what's projected into your future lifetimes, I'm shown. And I also have your ancestors that are showing me themselves this way and what they've passed down to you, which go back 15 to 20 generations. And then on the outside, I can see the karma that's spinning in. And so when I work with your angelic team and we eliminate the things, which is polarity, right and wrong, good and bad, and anything else that is keeping you locked, blocked, and stopped, um, we start with it in the present, and then everything from the past that aligns and agrees and resists and reacts, and the future hops on. The karmic stuff spins in, hops on. It's a vibrational match. Ancestors pop. So by the time we do the clearing for this one thing, it's this big, this much energy we're taking out of your field, and we're eliminating it. And then what I get to see is your molecules start to play the game Tetris,
Mhm.
that game, where like the shape comes across, you have to turn the shape around and then it comes down, it drops into place, and then it zeroes out. So all your molecules are going back into place. And what happens is when people come to me, their cup is full. And if I start to put stuff in their cup, like educate them or school them on something, like it's just going to make a mess on the table, William. So we've got to take some time to dump their cup out so they've got more room in there to invite in that which I'd like to have come in. So by the time we get to a point within like 2 to 3 months where their cup is, you know, almost empty, their frequency is much higher because we've gotten rid of all the low vibrational energies. They're attracting in high vibe people, places, things, experiences, relationships, money flows. It is unbelievable the transformation that takes place. That's what it gets me excited.
Well, it goes back biblically. We're asked to surrender all. And a lot of times we think those are physical attributes. And the physical attributes of it is the way we view things in life. Yeah. So with those, if we learn to surrender the actual baggage, the stories that we carry, that's part of the cup. I think I'm hearing you say that they are holding us back and overloading us and burdening us down. Negative emotions, we're talking about energy, frequency, and vibration. Well, emotions are charged
Yes.
positively or negatively. So the great thing to learn is what is my emotion I'm feeling at that moment? How do I bring it to neutral? And a lot of times, there's things that we want to continue on with, but there's things that we really need to bring to neutral. Otherwise, it's unburdening as well. It's not helping us. So all those things that you're saying is your cup being full of is what we think our cup being full. Maybe times it's full with the things that we don't need it full with, and that's a great analogy of that doing it. So, emotional intelligence is a big part of this journey. We're
Would you
emotional
like to
beings.
share? Would you like me to share the graph or the
I would
chart?
love, yeah, please let's look at the vibrational frequencies. This is cool.
Okay, so this is the emotional chart. And it starts at the bottom with 0 and it goes to the top at 1,000. And the very top is God's consciousness. That's pure light, pure love. Just below that is gratefulness, gratitude, thankfulness. And then as you go down the chart, you'll see that the colors go down as well. So when you get to the bottom, 0 is death. Just above death, and I'm going to give you the 8 emotions that sit there just above death at the 20 mark. It's anger, rage, fury, hate, blame, shame, regret, and guilt. So if at any time during the day you're having any of those thoughts, feelings, and emotions, you are functioning just above death.
Mm.
We don't have that awareness. We were never taught this.
Mm-hmm.
So once you understand where your emotional intelligence is functioning from, and you factor in, okay, it's not always, I'm not always feeling guilty, just sometimes I feel guilty. You can sort of get an average. And it's interesting that these colors are aligned with our chakras. The root chakra is red, orange, yellow, green, and it goes up to purple is right above our head. And it's so interesting how this was designed. However, it's designed with polarity. So if you were to look at this chart and you were to discover that you were down around, 50, 30, 50, 75, would you say that would be kind of low? Would you agree that would be a low vibration?
Yes, it would, and be very tense. And
Yeah.
yeah, it'd be very tense
And
as
the
far as it,
opposite,
yeah,
yeah, and the opposite would be true at the top. You'd be
higher
right.
vibration.
Yeah. And so the good would also be high, and the bad would be the lower vibrations. And right, of course, would be the top, and bad would be the bottom. Well, this chart, the way it's designed, is designed to lock you in to polarity here. Like you don't have a possibility except to be high, low, good, bad, right, or wrong. So I'm going to eliminate this one to show you this one. So this is the truth of emotional intelligence. And we just flip it on its side so it's horizontal. Then there's nothing high, nothing low, nothing good, nothing bad. They're just different frequencies. So when you look at this, it will remind you of the dial that you used to have. We're going way back, kids, on the radio in your car or on the radio at your house, with the rabbit ears, what. And you would just, and I'm going to use my cursor, you would just dial in to the channel that you wanted to listen to. So country music, rap, AM radio, uh, biblical. And when you would get right on it, you'd have a direct connection. It would be a frequency match, right? You'd be on the channel you're looking for. So these are all clues as to where you are. And at any time, you can choose to be here, 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 or here. And when you put it this way, it's just choice because it's eliminating where you have to be right, wrong, good, bad. Isn't that kind of cool when you look at it this way? And
Yes,
you're just lining up. It's
the
just,
internet connection is unstable.
yeah. Oh, it's just different. It's just a different frequency. It's not good,
There's-
bad, high, low, right or
mhm.
wrong.
Back up a little bit. The internet connection dropped out. Repeat that as far as good, right, wrong, right before it. Some reason we fell out. I don't know why.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Because that's the part that people need to hear. That's what
Yes,
happens. I'm like such a high vibe that it'll do that. And it happens right at the right point where people are
it's
going to,
because we know who's involved.
yes. Yeah.
Go ahead and repeat. Yeah, repeat that section right there because it is vital.
Okay. So we take the emotion chart and we flip it on its side so it's horizontal. It's horizontal, so there's no high and low here. There's just left and right, and
Mm-hmm.
when you go left and right, there's no good and bad or right or wrong. So when it's here, you're not bad. You're just at a different frequency. So it's like your dial on the radio. You can start on the left and you just start scrolling over and go, okay, well, nope, that's not my channel. Or, like how we would go to the country station or the soft rock or the hard rock or the,
Mhm.
biblical stations. So you just dial in, you can dial in and you can change it at any time. Before, if you were right, you were right. You can't be right and wrong. So that was the problem with the first chart that was vertical. This one's horizontal, so you can channel in any frequency that you would like. You can just take your knob and turn it, and you take your words, your actions, your behaviors, and you create the energy, space, and consciousness of the frequency at which you'd like to function at.
To sum that up, energy is a choice, not good or bad, even though in human viewpoint, we always feel we need to be right, but in a sense, we don't have to be right. And that's surrendering and releasing a tremendous amount of burden on it. And it's just like a frequency generator. I can dial in that frequency to exactly where I want to be. So if I declare and decide I am going to be happy today, yeah, I'm going to dial that frequency in, right? Is that the concept? Okay. It makes total sense. And
And it can change so fast. So just really quickly, it was interesting when I have a son who's 22 now, but when he was younger, he was in school and he'd come home from school one day and he said, Mom, I'm really upset. Oh, really? Okay, what happened? So he explained what happened. I'm like, yeah, I'd really be upset about that too. Because, that wasn't nice. It was mean. It wasn't fair. I can see how your feelings were hurt. I said, so how long would you like to be upset? He goes, I'm going to be upset the rest of the day. I'm like, okay, great. You can be upset the rest of the day. I got it. But if you're going to be upset, like be really upset, like stamp your feet and pound your hands and, spend time in your bedroom by yourself, whatever you need to do. And so it was like an hour later. So he comes over and he says, I think I'd like to go swimming. Could I go swimming? And I went, well, no. I'm like, you can't go swimming. That would be fun. And you said that you were going to be upset for the rest of the day. It is not the rest of the day. So, no, you can't go swimming. And I just turned around and walked away and just let that sit with him. And within 10 minutes, he came over and he's like, Mom, I think I might be done being upset. Oh, you are? Are you sure? Because you were pretty sure it was going to be the whole day. He's like, I am definitely positive. I'm really done with being upset. I was like, okay. Oh, like, how fun is that now? And he says, yeah, can I go swimming? I go, sure. And it was that fast. But here's the beauty of it. Months go by, couple months, next quarter, he gets in the car. I am so upset. And I was like, I bet you are. I can tell. I said, how long would you like to be upset? He said, 5 minutes. Like, okay, okay, 5 minutes, ready, go. Being upset is a choice. You
yes,
can choose how long you're going to be upset, and grieving is that way too. You can choose how long you grieve. You can choose how long you're in any of those emotional states. You can pick any of them on the bar. You can be angry your whole life, or you can choose something else. That's the beauty of not being in polarity. You have choice. So instead of looping, take the exit ramp. I'll see you at the bottom.
that, that is tremendous mindset shift. The fact that I can be authentic in myself and declare that I am going to be this way. I'm not hiding it, right? And I'm sharing it. So there's no hidden agendas with anybody. It brings about, okay, you're going to be that way. That's great. And I love that you're letting people put a time on it, because it's declaring now that I have this amount of time that I'm going to be this way, and then I get to shift. And I have permission to do that. And that's a great thing to give. That's a gift to give somebody, to listen and understand that, and let them dump it out like that, clear it, and come back to neutral. Okay. Instead of just burying it like we do so much and get so disconnected. And that's when it really gets dangerous. That's when those frequencies go very low for a very long time. And
Yeah.
then our life could be spent before we know it,
Yeah.
like
And
that.
also give yourself permission to continue with it. So maybe, okay, 5 minutes. Well, maybe I'm not done. Maybe I'm not ready to shift yet. Okay, cool. Another 5 minutes, another 24 hours, another 2 weeks, whatever you'd like. You choose what works for you. Not everybody processes things like other people. As long as you're giving yourself permission to process things in a healthy way, in a manner in which that serve you, uh, all for it, all for it. Take as long as you require. Ask people to come in, with you and help you process through things. But yeah, absolutely. Because then once you've processed through it, your soul isn't taking it on. Because what happens is our soul creates a timestamp and it literally timestamps it, just like when we're looking at this podcast and it'll say 30 minutes and 72 seconds. No, wait, you can't even have 72 seconds because there's only 60 seconds in a minute. So say like like 23.
Maybe it's your minute,
That's my clock.
Yeah.
And it'll create a timestamp. And what happens is, and this is how you know you have a timestamp, is when you start to mark your life, your decisions based on it. And humanity has had one also. So humanity's record
Mm.
is shown to me like our vinyl records. And I can see your soul's record is the same way. And so at the time when the traumatic times, the event happened, and then the timestamp was created, it creates a scratch on your record. So you have to slow down to go over the speed bump, to then speed up again, to slow down to go over the speed bump.
Mm.
What happens is we start to mark time based on it. So for humanity, Kennedy's assassination, everybody knows where they were. The Challenger space shuttle blew up. Everybody knows where they were. 9/11, COVID, we still to this day are marking our time based on it. And you have timestamps when you're like, was that before or after COVID? Did I date him after the one that like broke my heart? Or was that before we went on vacation and, our car broke down? When you start to talk about your time, your present tense, based on your past experiences, you have a timestamp. And that's when we need to get together to bring all those timestamps back to have a whole soul. Yeah. Yeah. It's a beautiful thing. But that's what happens with our trauma when we're not allowed to process through it.
We're held at that spot in time, and it never releases, and
Yeah.
that carries forward.
Yeah.
So yeah, man made the clock, and time, as most people think, is by the clock, and that's not really the true concept of time. The only time is what God gave us here on this planet to exist and create those moments. And we were meant to live in the moment, not live in our histories. And then we're great historians. We've been taught to be great historians to project. Well, I remember when, or you did this time, or things like that. But what about now? Yeah, what about now? Well, now's a new moment. It's a clearing plate, and we can come to that reset mark. This is my life today. It wasn't yesterday.
That's
So
huge.
yeah,
That's huge for people.
it
Like the
is.
nuggets that you shared today, William, are huge for people. It was interesting when I was putting my son to bed. This is the conscious parenting I always had known that I had wanted to do with him. I saw that he started to take on the worrying, the concern that my mother, his grandmother, and my grandmother, his great grandmother, did on a regular basis. And I was like, okay, we are not going to take that on. That is not going to be how we do things. So at night, when he would go to bed, I just designed this way for him to be able to let everything go. And it goes like this. Would you like me to share it with you?
Absolutely. I want to hear.
There's like 4 lines. So you're going to say, today is over.
Mm.
You're telling yourself and your body and your soul, today's over. Like you did the best you could, you got what you got, you achieved what you achieved, today's over. The second one is tomorrow's a new day. So today is over, tomorrow's a new day. Tomorrow, when you state tomorrow's a new day, you get new choices, your slate is clean, everything that, so even if you got the hole in one and the grand slam and the, 3-point shot, you're still at zero the next day. So even if you failed your test and skipped school and got in a fight, you still start at zero the next day. Today's over, tomorrow's a new day. And at night when you're going to bed, you state, it will be a great day. So you're already placing intention on the next day that it's going to be a great day. And then the fourth sentence is because I choose.
That's it.
And that allows you choice. You have choice because you are the one that's creating your reality.
Well, that's the thing. We don't realize how much of our destiny and our futures lie in our own hand that God gave us to choose.
Yes.
That's it's the gift of choice. But to declare, people, if we look at life today and what it used to be a long time ago, we used to have an existence. We were being together, enjoying time together, whatever time looked like back then, enjoying the experiences and our stories and sharing. But today we're driven by a clock on it, and we're too busy doing, and we're doing, and making a bunch of doo-doo, and we don't realize that we're doing that. It's because of exactly that. It's the declarations to be and to
Yes.
choose my day. And I set the precedence by doing that. I wake up in the morning and I give gratitude and thanks that I can even wake up. And then I declare, today is going to be a new day. My mind is renewed. Today is going to be joy filled in creation of some sort of design for a project. I'm declaring that I am going to meet 5 people today to share joy and love with them. But I got to choose that. And the energy shift from that is tremendous because now when things come at me during the day, I've already decided that day. And the results of that day are going to happen. And I've found so many times that at the end of the day, like you described, the day is over. But look at the result of the day and look at what came into that day and look what happened in that day simply because I got up and I was being a human being in the moment, declaring and not waking up to my to-do list. There's power there.
This is my grand slam. Oh yeah, I'm knocking it out of the park. Woo!
So it's essential. If anybody listening to this today, if there's just one thing that you can take away is exactly this. Start making a declaration and choose your energy because you do have that choice. If you want to be happy, say it. I am happy. If you want to be mad, say you're mad. Be it. Be it. Let it discharge and then change, shift. You don't have to stay in it. It's not something we get addicted to those things. We get addicted to our chemical composition. If we have an expectation, I'm going to be sad, and this is the way my day's going to be. Okay, well, if you're going to be sad, well, here's the mixture for your body, and this is what you're going to be. And you declared it without even declaring it. And you're so used to it, that's what you expect, and you're caught in that infinite loop. So, chain breaker, yeah. Somebody opened the gate or something and let them just meander out through it, and all of a sudden you're in a new field. Well, guess what, you're in the unknown, and now there's a different opportunity for a different day to be something different. Yeah.
Yes,
So
yes, William. I'm over here going, yes, yes, yes.
it's the truth. It's the way we've been designed, and we've been separated from that for so long, we've got. And that's why we're here today for the audience and for people hearing this. You have the choice right now, no matter where you're at in time, in spot, where you're at in space, to change. I want to be this today. But guess what? That's the first part, isn't it? That's where we really wake up and say we do have a choice. But what's next? Well, there's more work to it, folks. I hate to tell you, but get this glorious work though. You get to go through a process. Susan, tell me about that a little bit. What's next? I know mindset and growth is essential to everyday life. It does not stop, does it?
So it's so interesting so it changed for me when I realized I was not in the question. I was not asking a question. So that was very pivotal. When I started asking questions, I started gaining awarenesses. Whereas before, if I wasn't in the question, I was in a conclusion, a calculation, a judgment, a decision, a computation. Like all of that stops energy. Like you can't actually create with that. When you ask a question like, okay, like when something like, okay, so I just lived through, a Cat 5 Hurricane Milton 4 or 5 here in Florida. My car window was blown out. It rained in my car for a day and a half.
Oh,
I get to my car, it's dead. It won't start. The doors won't open. When I finally manually get the door open, the water pours out of my car. Yes. So I can choose to be upset, angry, pissed off, have a tantrum, scream and yell, curse, or I can ask for a different possibility.
mm-hmm,
So right away, I'm like, okay, yeah, God, this is pretty funny. This is a joke. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
But I also stand in the power of being divinely guided.
Yes,
And if I truly believe I'm divinely guided, then this divinely happened for a divine reason that I just haven't figured out yet. So I'm like, okay, God, this was funny. And, you know, how could it get better than this? What else is but like, what am I not willing to acknowledge that if I acknowledged it could change, choose, and institute a different reality right away? And
that's it.
everything started to show up. So being in the question and asking questions is one of the hardest things that I have found that my clients struggle with because they're taught to find the answer and figure it out and make a good choice. And you were taught, and I'm going to put brackets around this, that you should do, you ought to do, you must do. If you do this, you're a good neighbor, a good friend, a good person, a good father, a good student, a good mentor, a good coach, whatever. But that's all hanging in this reality. That's what this reality says you're supposed to be. Yeah.
Sounds
And
like a bunch of doo-doo right there. There's a lot of do's.
yeah. And yeah, to do it. Yeah. So we're not human doings, we're human beings. We're
Amen.
acoustical vibrational frequencies. That's what our soul is. That is why everything is frequency. In fact, when you were born, you were not born learning, your first language, not the one you learned at home. And we weren't taught this, but your first language was energy.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that because if you've seen a baby or even animals, they'll just look up at the wall and they'll just be looking at it and they'll just be giggling, cooing, or crying or following something. And you look at the wall and you can't see anything. You're like, what are they looking at? Like you can't figure it out. See, you were entrained that this frequency is red.
Mm-hmm.
The baby isn't entrained yet. So the baby sees all energies. That includes the ones you're not willing to see.
Natively.
Yeah. So you were programmed to only see the colors that are in that large crayon box. Guess what?
Mm-hmm.
If it's not in that large crayon box, you can't see it. And if you can't see it, then it's not true because those are belief systems. If I don't see it, it's not real. If I don't see it, it didn't happen. If I don't see it, it's not possible. Like those are all the programs that you've been taught. And when you are taught that and you install it and you have it running in the background, then you can't possibly see anything else. And the same thing is with possibilities. When you believe something is wrong, you can't actually see the possibilities. When you give up your point of view about your family members, let's just take the holidays, for instance. How many of you are having a tough time already planning on what you're going to say, what you're going to bring, where you're going to sit, who are you going to go with, how long are you going to stay? Because you want to not have the conflict that kind of comes in and gets set up. Well, if you eliminated your points of view about all of them, they can actually show up how they truly are. It's because your point of view holds them in place, that they can only show up the way you've decided they are. And that's a key to the kingdom.
That's gold. And it's also not living in the moment. It's living in the future,
Mhm.
making decisions about the future, which has no bearing at the moment that you're in right now. And then you lose that moment that you have right that minute, worrying about what it's going to be and not thinking of what am I right now, right this minute. That is gold, Susan.
It is so cool. I will get a text message from a client and she will say, um, I don't know what you did with my kids, but these are not them. And then I got another one. She goes, what did you do with my husband? Because this is not him. Because we eliminated all of the points of view she had about him or their kids. And in doing that, it freed them up to show up exactly how they truly would like to show up and not how they were projected to be, because that's in a no choice reality. And that's a game changer for you.
Transformational is
Yes.
what that is. And just think what we could be in possibility. Okay. Because I view life as 100% possibility anytime. It's just choice.
If you're in the question, yes.
Yeah. And so I get to think what is possible in the worst possible moment. And you just described that. You changed your lens on what we're taught to look at tragedy into what can be. So what's next? What's the beautiful things that's going to happen out of this? And that right there is just it will transform so many people's lives to empowerment to take their lives back just from looking at that perspective. What can be the possibilities that is appointed for me in this moment? I get to choose how I respond to this. Meaning, I am responsible for my choice in this matter too. So this is the essence of the beginning of change, awareness, and the output of your life and what you create. So, Susan, we're going to probably bring this to a close here. I'd love to keep talking about this. This is good stuff. This is the great stuff that liberates people from their chains and bondage, and they become who they get to be. And this is what we're about: is transformational change and transformational leadership. And Susan has her coaching business, and she's been widely recognized for the success results out of transforming lives. And I encourage each and every one of you to have a consult. I believe you have a consult, right, Susan? A
Yes.
30-minute consult.
Yes.
So I
That is the
won't.
greatest gift that I could give is my time to be able to go in with your angelic team and discover what it is that's keeping you locked, blocked, and stopped. Yeah.
Absolutely. So really the question becomes, why not take advantage of that time that's been freely given? I can take you from where you are in life. Now, I want everybody in the audience to think about this. Where you're at right now, what's it costing you? Okay. And then think about what your dreams and your wants are out of life. Is that cost that's holding you back right now worth what you're paying to take 30 minutes out of the time and explore possibilities of what you can be and have a life of liberty and freedom and be in unity with yourself and with God, if you believe, and freedom just to go about being you and not have to feel like you have to be somebody else. That's priceless to me. So if I was out there listening to this right now, I'd be booking you right this second.
Today's the day and now's the time, my friend. I am
Yeah.
here. Let me serve.
Life is now. So don't wait because we don't know the next moment. That's called living intentionally and living in the moment. So yeah, Susan, do you have any last closing comments that you'd like to share with our audience?
I would just like you all to know that I have been at those low vibes. I have had those loops. I have had polarity. And it's only through crashing and burning
Same.
time and time and time again. Like, we didn't just wake up this conscious, you know what I mean? Like we've gone through the fire and brimstone.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well,
so we know where you are. We know where you are
yes,
and get it. And we're here to support you. So I'm so blessed. Thank you so much, William, for having me. It was my honor, truly. Thank you.
I'm in gratitude just to have the experience today, and I look forward to future experiences that come up. So this is a higher vibrational frequency that I have anticipation not expectation, but anticipation, which is a wholly different thing, that I get to look forward to the next day because there is something new out there and ready to go. And what can be is what we shall commit to. And, if it is to be, it's up to me to make it happen. So, audience, click, book an appointment with Susan, transform your life. Don't forget, upgrade of the VIP experience so you have lifetime access to this reel because there's golden nuggets all through it. And it doesn't always land the first time, maybe not even the second time. And we know busy schedules prevent from having the day that this is scheduled. So invest a small amount to get your VIP experience, listen to it over and over again for a lifetime. And then with that, also look into this, the value of values. The course has been created to identify what your true values are in life. Get in alignment with yourself, because really that's the beginning, is knowing who you are. Now the possibilities are open up. And just think of it this way. If you knew who your values were coming in to talk to Susan, how much power that would be to transform your life even further and faster in your life. So book a consult with me as well. And then between Susan and myself, we'll get you hooked up and make a difference in your life for good. So, audience, we love you. We appreciate you. God bless. Thank you for listening today. And keep your ears and eyes open. There'll be more coming in the future. God bless. Bye.